Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, Larry the Batman fan. I'm back with another video. So today I'm going to name my top 10 video game consoles of all time. No, the Panasonic 3DO is not on the list because that system is the worst game console that I've ever played. There were not that many good games on that system other than like Road Rash. Um, Killing Time was a good game, even though it was hard. Escape from Monster Manor. Excuse me, and Wolfenstein 3D and a couple other games. Flashback: The Quest for Identity was on the 3DO, and Star Control 2. But other than that, pretty much the majority of Panasonic 3DO games were pretty crappy. Would really bring out the nerds um, angry side. I know I'm not the angry video game nerd, but I'm just saying. He made a video talking about how bad that system is. Excuse me. So that's one reason that it's a terrible system. Another reason is because I've actually played the console to tell you all the truth, and I just know that the majority of the games are pretty terrible. So that's not going to be on the list. But systems that I consider to be the best, um, the number one best system of all time is the PlayStation 2. I mean, the PlayStation 2 is just so mind blowing. Like, when I was a kid, like in 2000, 2001, I really wanted a PS2 and I couldn't afford it. Didn't have the money. I was a kid. It wasn't until around 2004 or 2005 that I actually got a PS2. I was pretty happy. I only had two games for it at the time, though. Pac-Man World 2 and Madden NFL 2005. Those are the only games that I had for the console. But PS2 is an awesome system. Um, it was actually the first time that a lot of people had DVD players because, DVD players used to be really expensive. They used to be like two, three, $400. Now you can get a DVD player for as low as $30. Although I don't recommend those $30 DVD players because the sound sucks and the quality picture is probably poor. Gotta get one at least 50 or $60. Don't buy the Sanyos, they're crappy. I also don't recommend the Sony DVD players. I've had problems with those. I recommend a Magnavox DVD player or an Element DVD player if you can find one. Those are some that I recommend personally, or a Toshiba. But anyways, back on track. The PS2 could be a DVD player, could play DVDs. Everything about the PS2 was really great. There was only a handful of crappy games. The highlight games that I will say is definitely Resident Evil 4. Sorry. Excuse me. Resident Evil 4, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. You really love all the Tony Hawk games up to Project 8, and then after that, Tony Hawk went downhill. Because Proving Grounds and Tony Hawk Ride were terrible games. Even Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was a was a terrible game. Devil May Cry, Devil May Cry 3, Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2, Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of the Cortex, Crash Bandicoot Twin Sanity, Crash Nitro Kart, Crash Tag Team Racing, Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, Resident Evil Outbreak, Resident Evil Outbreak File 2, God of War 2, Sonic Heroes, Max Payne 2, and what Medal of Honor, European Assault, Medal of Honor Rising Sun, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and many others. I mean, I could go on for another 5 minutes about how many great games are on the system. But the PS2 was an awesome system overall. I highly recommend it if you are a gamer. Excuse me a second. So number 2 is the NES. The NES was part of my childhood. I had some friends, my mom's friend, Josie. Josie gave, her relatives rather, gave me a NES for around like the summertime. Because like I had mentioned how much I wanted a game console and didn't have one. I was just a kid. I really wish I had one. And Josie's relative, Rhonda, and their kids, Chris and Brian, apparently had an NES in their collection, but they weren't playing it. They were playing PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast back in 97, 98, 99. I don't know. I was like 6 years old when this happened, so I think it was in 97. So Rhonda said, have your mom give me the keys. I have a surprise for you. I was like, oh, what's the surprise? She's like, I can't tell you it's a surprise. And on that day, it was a warm summer day, and we were having a little party. They had hot dogs and hamburgers. They had beer and soda and stuff. Of course, I was just a minor, so I wasn't drinking. I think they also had chicken as well. And they had a pool in their backyard, so we got to go swimming. And so that was the day. We spent several hours there. It was a good time there. And then later on that night, when we got home and dropped Josie off, opened up the back of the car, the trunk, and inside there was a Nintendo inside of a case with 2 controllers, and it had all the cords for it and about 20 games for the Nintendo. I actually think there was around 22 or 23 games, but Mom wouldn't let me keep Nightmare on Elm Street or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Pool of Radiance. She threw those in the garbage. Excuse me. Sorry, I know there's a lot of burping in this video. I'm drinking some soda, so it's making me burp. So anyways, yeah, I was pretty excited. I remember playing games like Ice Climbers, Zelda, Zelda 2, Adventures of Link, Lode Runner, Solomon's Key, Q*bert, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario... not Super Mario Bros. 2, I didn't have that. I had Duck Hunt, but I couldn't play it because I didn't have the gun. I had 2 copies of Duck Hunt, and I think I had 2 copies of the regular Super Mario Brothers. And then I had 1 or 2 of the cartridges that had Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt combined into one cartridge. So I had a couple of doubles in there. I also had Adventures in the Magic Kingdom, Ice Climber, Mickey Mouse Capade, Stingers, Star Force, Gyromite, and I had Bubble Bobble. So those were some of the games that I had. I just remember how much fun it was. I also had Super Pitfall. I had that too. Didn't have any of the Castlevanias or Ninja Gaiden or anything like that. But just remember how much fun it was as a kid, and it's such a good console. I really enjoy that console. I know the NES has a lot of crap games like Dick Tracy, Kid Cool, Deadly Towers, Wally Bear and the No Gang, Fester's Quest, and a handful of others like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Back to the Future. But there are some good games on the system that are worth playing. besides what I mentioned. Time Lord's a pretty good game. I don't think that Double Dragon or Double Dragon 2 are that bad. They're pretty fun. Astyanax, that's a fun game. Faxinandu is pretty cool. Boulder Dash, Sky Kid, Pac-Man. You can never go wrong with Pac-Man. Donkey Kong, Contra 2, also known as Super Contra. Castlevania 3, Castlevania. I know the second game gets a lot of hate because it doesn't really tell you where to go. And Kirby's Adventure, just to name some other great games on the system. Now number 3 is the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo is pretty awesome. I like the Super Nintendo. There's a lot of good nostalgic games for that system, and the game. See, back then it wasn't really all about the internet. It was all about the games, really. So Super Nintendo is just an amazing system. It's a lot of fun. The highlight games for Super Nintendo is like Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 3 is good, but it's hard as hell. I can never get very far in Mortal Kombat 3. And yes, I know that some of these games are also on Sega Genesis. Of course, you can't mention a Super Nintendo list without mentioning Mario World. Super Mario World is great. Super Mario Kart, Contra 4, Super Castlevania 4, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, which was a great game, great beat 'em up game. And then he also had Super Mario RPG and Star Fox. Those are some other really good games. Some like obscure titles that I think are pretty good that are worth playing is The Ignition Factor, Batman Returns, Flashback: The Quest for Identity, um, Operation Logic Bomb, and Paperboy 2. Those are some underrated games on the system. And also, I can't forget Killer Instinct. That was such a fun fighting game. All right, number 4 is the Sega Genesis. Number 4. Sega Genesis is another great console around the same time as the Super Nintendo. A lot of great games on that system. The games that are worth mentioning for Sega Genesis that I think are amazing. It's Phantasy Star 4, Phantasy Star 2, Phantasy Star 3, Light Crusader, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3, all 3 of those. Sonic Spinball is a good game. Sonic 3D Blast is okay, but not as good as the other Sonic games. And then I'm aware that there's also Sonic and Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Tinhead, Aladdin, The Lion King, Shakan the Forever Man, that's a good game. Jurassic Park, Road Rash 2 and 3. I do like the first Road Rash, but there's no multiplayer in it. What else? I think X-Men 2, The Clone Wars is pretty fun as well. And I can't forget Beyond Oasis and Decap Attack and Lethal Enforcers. I can't forget Lethal Enforcers. That's a pretty fun shooting game on Sega Genesis. So those are just some games that I can name right off the bat that I think are worth playing for the Sega Genesis. I also do think that WWF Royal Rumble is a pretty good wrestling game. Now next, number 5 for my top 10 is the PS3. The PS3 is very good. I like the PS3. The PS3 is a retro console these days, but back in like 2007, 2008, it was fresh. But the PS3 is great, and it has great online play. It's too bad I don't think a lot of the games you can't play online for anymore. But it was a great system. It was nice that you were able to download your own music onto the PS3. It's nice that it had internet capabilities to play your games online. And for the highlighted games, I'm going to say Heavy Rain, Killzone 2 and 3, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. The Last of Us, most definitely. That game's amazing. Batman Arkham City. I also like Arkham Origins, and I like Batman Arkham Asylum, but Arkham City was the first that was more open world, and you could fly through the city, and you didn't have to do the mission objectives right away. You could do it whenever you were ready. And you could fly down into the city and start beating up bad guys on the street. It's a lot of fun. It's a really great game. Excuse me. Um, I thought that Black Site Area 51 was underrated. Time Shift. Of course, you can't go wrong with a couple of Call of Duty games. And Battlefield Bad Company 1, 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with Final Fantasy 13, Venetica, White, White Knight Chronicles 1 and 2, and oh yeah, you can't go wrong with Infamous 1 and 2. And the Bioshock games were a lot of fun. So those are some of the highlighted games for that system. It's a really great system. Definitely worth playing even to this day in 2023. Number 6 is the PlayStation 5. I'm putting the PlayStation 5 at number 6. And you're probably thinking, well, why isn't it number 1? Well, I do like the PlayStation 5, and I do own one right over here. But I will say the one thing I hate about the PlayStation 5 is the trend that we're going, is that we have new games with perfect graphics. They look amazing. The games are fun, but we're still having some problems with glitches and all these damn microtransactions. Nobody wants to pay $50 or $60 for a game, or even $70 for a game. And then you get halfway through the game, and then you can't play the rest of the game because you need an internet connection, or they want you to pay for a certain outfit for you to continue to play the game. And I think that sucks that they're doing that. Nobody wants to buy games and have to pay extra money for an outfit in the game or to be able to progress in the game. That's not fair. That's just being a money grabbing bitch. That's just making people pissed off because we pay money. We pay good money to support these developers, and they're making all these microtransactions, all this extra money off of us, and they don't give a shit about us. And they're giving us games that are only 5, 6, 7 hours when we should have games that are 20 to 25 hours long or 30 hours long. Make it more satisfying of a game. I also don't like the fact that a lot of games now are going digital, so they're not getting physical releases. When I bought my PS5, I made sure to get the disc drive version, even though I had to pay extra money, because I didn't want to have the digital version, because I like having physical media. I'm a collector. I have lots of shelves here, as you can see. So I don't like to have digital stuff. I like to have physical media. And they should make that an option for the collectors to have physical media, and they don't seem to care about us. So that's the main problem with Sony and Microsoft these days, is that they're not caring about their customers in the physical media department. But that aside, it is a great console, and I'd like to see what the future holds for it, since it's already been 2 or 3 years now into the system's lifespan. Some highlighted games for the system, I'd say, is the Neo Collection, Ghost Runner, um, Horizon the Forbidden West, the Uncharted Collection. They made an update where you get all 4 of the Uncharted games. Um, I didn't buy that because I already have them. So, but it's good if you don't have those 4 games on PS3 and PS4. So if you don't have either one of those systems, you don't own those games, then that's perfect to have. Returnal is also a really good game. That's a lot of fun. And Yakuza Like a Dragon and Gotham Knights. Cannon Bridges Spirits is a great game, and The Pathless. So, and those are a couple of games that I think are worth mentioning for the PS5. Now we're on number 7. Number 7 is the original Xbox. That's a great system. I highly recommend that. That's fun. I remember when it first came out, I was excited. I didn't get my original Xbox though till like 2006 or something, or 2005, around that time. Mom helped me out too with like $50 because when I traded in a lot of my games, I only had enough for like, I think I got like $80, $85 with the stuff I traded in, and I still needed like 130 in total to get the Xbox original. The first game I got for it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I remember that. Then later on, I bought a couple more games when I saved up my allowance money and got that trip double pack that had the Sega GT 2002 with a Jet Set Radio Future. And I think I also picked up another game. I forget what it was. But I was just a kid getting like $5 or $10 for an allowance. I wasn't getting 30 or $40. So I had to wait a few weeks before getting some extra games. But it was a really good console, and I still play it today. I have it over there on my little shelf there with that TV, the old school TV. The highlighted games for that system, I'd say Sonic Heroes, Halo 2, Dreamfall's a good game, Half-Life 2, The Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, which was really surprising because it's a licensed game, but it's actually pretty good. King Kong, Spider-Man 2, Batman Begins, Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, Capcom Classics Collection, James Bond: Agent Under Fire, The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Star Wars Republic Commando, The Matrix Path of Neo, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter. Those are a few games I can name off the top of my head that I know are pretty good. Now we're on to the last two, I believe, or no, I think we're at 8. Number 8 is the GameCube. GameCube is a great system. I highly recommend GameCube. It was actually Nintendo's last really, truly great system, in my opinion. Really fun system. I like the design of the system. They had those tiny GameCube discs to play and put into the system. The only thing that sucks is that there was no internet. You couldn't play online with the GameCube. The GameCube highlighted games, in my opinion, would be Mario Kart Double Dash, Luigi's Mansion, 007 Nightfire, 007 Agent Under Fire, Medal of Honor Frontlines, excuse me, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 0, Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, Kirby Air Ride, Mario Party 4 through 7. That's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then Zelda: The Wind Waker. And Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX, which I know is also available on Xbox and GameCube. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. So those are some of the games that I recommend on the GameCube. Number 9 is the Nintendo Switch. I'm putting the Nintendo Switch at number 9. I do think the Nintendo Switch is a good system. A lot better than the Wii and the Wii U. The Wii and the Wii U had just too much crap, too much shovelware on the system, which really doesn't make me want to put it on my top 10. There was some good games on the Wii U and the Wii, but overall, if you're going to buy either, I recommend buying the Wii U since it can play all Wii games. You don't need a Wii anymore. And just pick out the games that you like. You know, don't go and collecting every single Wii game because then you're just gonna have a bunch of crap on your shelf, like The Princess and the Frog and games like Ninja Bread Man that are just total garbage. Um, the Switch is great. Games I recommend for the Switch. Um, uh, it's Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, and Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, Deathmark, that's good if you like horror games, Resident Evil, the Umbrella Collection, um, and Persona 4 Strikers, or Persona 5 Strikers, rather. Those are some of the games I recommend. Also, Wolfenstein 2 is a pretty good shooting game. And the last system I'm going to mention in this video is the Xbox 360. That has a lot of great games on the system. The only problem with the Xbox 360 when it came out, folks, is that it was having so many problems with getting the systems right to where they work. Because a lot of them had Red Ring of Death. And because of that reason, a lot of the collectors out there had to send their systems back to Microsoft or take it back to GameStop and get another one. You know, and they needed to have a 1 year warranty on those things because they had Red Ring of Death problems up the ass. And that's the reason why they had to keep, getting new systems out. And they didn't get it right until they got the black model, the elite model. So really, that's why a lot of places like Pastime Legends and Game Exchange, they won't even take the white model systems because so many of them have problems with the Red Ring of Death. Now that aside, Microsoft did pretty well competing against Nintendo and PlayStation. Some of the highlighted games I recommend for the system is Payday 2, Halo 4, Halo Reach, Halo ODST, Condemned 2, Bloodshot, Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2, Max Payne 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zeroes, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, and Final Fantasy 13. Those are some games that I recommend for the Xbox 360. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my list of games and the consoles that I listed here. Let me know what your favorite consoles are in the comments section below. And as always, God bless you all and thank you for watching. Bye.